I used to say that if I gained back all the weight I'd lost and had to lose it again, I'd focus on food first, then exercise, then sleep and stress in that order. But after coaching hundreds of people to lose weight, I noticed there's a fourth element that plays a critical, albeit invisible role in one's journey. This is usually an afterthought that people, including past Raja, don't consider until they've already struggled to manage the first three elements. But knowing what I know now, if I had to lose weight all over again, I'd actually start with this one first. Because doing so will make implementing these other three things be like playing the weight loss game on easy instead of hard mode. And it has less to do with what you do than what you surround yourself with. In his award-winning book, Guns, Germs, and Steel, Jared Diamond points out a simple fact. Different continents have different shapes. Okay, you might think, what does that have to do with losing weight? Well, it not only has to do a lot with losing weight, but with human behavior in general. Suppose you lived 10,000 years ago in the Americas, where a hot new invention called agriculture was all the rage. Those who successfully adopted farming could not only have stable access to food, but also free time to invent and trade goods, leading to bigger and better technological advancements for mankind. So you diligently learn all the best farming techniques and work your butt off. Over time, you and your descendants want to share your inventions and learnings further across the Americas. But try as you might, surprises like inhospitable climates, changes in seasons, sunlight, and rainfall make your journey horrendously difficult. Meanwhile, people in Eurasia had the same idea. They started farming, inventing, and migrating their technologies all over the map. In a matter of centuries, they could migrate technologies such as gunpowder 6,500 miles from China to Western Europe, no sweat. Whereas you and your descendants are working your butt off and never even managed to migrate something as simple as the wheel 500 miles from Mexico to the Andes. It's not fair. Why do your overseas peers have it so much easier when you're working 10 times harder? According to Diamond, because the Eurasian landmass runs east to west and locations along the same latitude have similar climates, people had an easier time expanding along the east-west routes. Whereas when your landmass runs north to south, climates vary drastically, making both the journey and the farming techniques difficult. Just try planting the same crops in Mexico as you would in Canada and see how that goes. Eurasia had an advantage because of their geography hack. They were playing the game on easy mode, whereas the people in the Americas had to play it on hard mode. They were no less ambitious, smart, or hardworking, and yet it took them 3 times longer to spread agriculture than their Eurasian counterparts. Your environment has a huge impact on your success, and research on human willpower or lack thereof backs this up. One study, in order to reverse engineer why some people had more willpower than others, tracked the daily lives of over 200 participants. Via their phones, participants were randomly asked about the temptations and self-control they were experiencing in the moment. When the data came back though, researchers found a paradox. Turns out the people who reported being best at self-control also reported facing fewer temptations overall. That is, the people who claim to excel at self-control were hardly using it at all. This is why trying to eat healthier when your environment is filled with unhealthy foods from your kids, spouse, or roommates makes it 10 times more difficult for you to make healthy choices for yourself. This is why if you have a snack room at your office, you're more likely to snack throughout the day and end up already over your calorie target by the time you get home. This is why when the weather outside is cold and harsh, it's so hard to go out for something as simple as a walk. The environment is working against your goals, making it more difficult for you to use any remaining willpower you have to achieve your desired outcome. Now, does this mean you're doomed if you can't change the weather or what foods you have around you? Absolutely not. Take one of my students who we'll call Dana, who had all the cards working against her from the get-go. Dana is a busy mom who, in addition to taking care of her kids, had to simultaneously take care of ailing live-in parents with her spouse, none of whom want to eat healthy. She works a high-stress office job with snack rooms filled with cookies, candies, and chips. On top of that, she also has PCOS. And if you have watched any of our PCOS videos, you know that women with PCOS will experience more weight retention under stress than their non-PCOS counterparts. So what did she end up doing? First, Dana got clear on what she could and couldn't control. Things like what her family eats, what her office stocks in the snack room, the weather, and her PCOS condition are outside of her control. She made peace with that fact and decided not to waste any more time bemoaning factors she couldn't change. What's left were all the things she could control, which became much more apparent and plentiful after she dismissed all the things out of her control first. First, she tackled what she could do at home. Since she couldn't get rid of all unhealthy snacks completely, she would hide the unhealthy snacks behind healthier, high-protein, low-calorie options like snap pea chips, popcorn, and snackable jerky sticks. In the fridge, she'd do the same thing by putting unhealthy food and drinks behind healthier ones, or stock her freezer with prepackaged frozen vegetables and high-protein meals so that on nights she didn't want to cook, she could grab something quick and easy to microwave or pan fry in 5 minutes. And while she can't always control what she eats, she can control the portions. So she bought smaller bowls, plates, and spoons that she would use for herself regardless of what the rest of the family used. Studies show that even just using smaller plates and utensils can help us subconsciously want to eat less. Finally, she roped her spouse in to help her by being the one in charge of giving treats to their kids, so she doesn't have to be the one to deal with them. Next, she tackled work. While she couldn't control what was already in the snack room, she could bring her own healthier options and keep them in her desk drawer so she would snack on them first before taking a walk past the snack room. She also stacked up on some minty gum and flavored tea like Celestial's apple cinnamon tea and chewing gum, or sipped on tea as she passed the snack room so she wouldn't feel the need to put something else in her mouth. She kept one small Tupperware at work just for the purpose of proportioning snacks. If she really wanted one of the cookies or donuts, she would bring her small Tupperware, put a fixed portion in it, and then take it back to her desk to enjoy mindfully, away from further temptations. And finally, she of course simply avoided going past the snack room whenever she could help it, opting to take longer paths around the office to get from point A to point B. Instead of seeing it as wasting time, she saw it as a great opportunity to get more steps in. And for exercise, whenever she needed to take a break, she'd walk up and down the stairs at work for 5 minutes. It's not much, but it was better than nothing. Better yet, this didn't involve her having to go outside, which was not always an option depending on the weather. And all of this not only made losing weight easier for her, but also greatly reduced her stress and even gave her some breathing room for some self-care at home, which, as I mentioned before, is crucial for women with hormonal conditions like PCOS. We'll cover the impacts of stress on weight loss more in a future video, so subscribe if you want to be notified. But the point is, if Dana can do it, so can you. And this brings me back to what I would do if I regained everything and had to lose it again. Since weight loss still primarily comes down to calories in, calories out, I'd first still try to figure out my calorie deficit by using a combination of online calculators plus 2 weeks worth of experimenting with food tracking, as I advise people to do in this video. But what I do differently this time around, before jumping into food or meal planning strategies, I'd first figure out how I can redesign my environment to make working on the rest of these things easier. While I don't have to do this to lose weight, doing so will use up much less of my willpower and make my journey 10 times easier. Resisting cravings gets easier, meal planning gets easier, staying within calorie and macro targets gets easier, making time for exercise gets easier, managing sleep and stress gets easier. In other words, why not set the game for easy mode first before I start playing it, rather than after already expending blood, sweat, and tears? But many of you may find that even after adjusting your environment to make weight loss easier, things still feel hard. This is because most people only redesign their environment to help make food and exercise choices easier, but neglect other areas of their lives that incur what I call the decision fatigue tax, like work decisions, childcare stress, etc. In other words, if you think of willpower like a battery, we don't just have one for health, one for work, one for relationships, etc., but one for all of these things. So anytime you have to make an effortful decision in one of these things, it drains your willpower battery for everything else. The solution is to manage all areas of your life. But this does not mean trying to change 100 different things at once. Instead, there's a way to dial all of these little tweaks down to one thing: creating systems instead of habits. So 2 things. 1, if you want a tried and tested, proven program that teaches you how to create systems around your own life to set you up for success, then check out the free sneak peek into my Badass Body Boss program in the comments and description below. Or if you want to DIY it, then you don't want to ignore this video where I walk you step by step through what I did to systemize my life to help me not just lose my weight and maintain my health and fitness, but also to reach a state of ease and peace. So you don't want to miss this. And always remember, you can do it.